For the past few days, we've been talking about some of the problems with Common Core. Today, we're going to talk about ideas that work. The U.S. Department of Education actually does do research in education. In the 1990s, they published a document, it was called Answers in the Toolkit, and what they found was that if kids get past Algebra 2 in high school, they more than double their chances of successfully completing a college degree. That study became part of a meta-analysis that was done by Auburn University. Now, in a meta-analysis, researchers read everything that's been done on a particular topic. Instead of doing the experiment themselves or analyzing test scores themselves, they read what other people have done to see if they can identify trends and consistencies and come up with an action plan. Auburn University looked at 25 years worth of data, which is an enormous amount of data to look at. And what they found was that if children get all the way to calculus in high school, they are 28 times, I didn't say percent, I said 28 times. That's 2,800% more likely to be a high achiever in college, regardless of their race, their socioeconomic status, the kind of high school that they went to, or the major that they take, because the skills of higher math translate. The ability to think in a straight line, to persevere, to take a big problem and break it down into small pieces, to think in terms of steps, to an action plan. How do I get from point A to point B to point C to point D? All of those things translate. So math is a door opener. Now, does that mean every child should get to calculus? Of course not. Does that mean every child should get to college? No. College is not the right path for every child. One of the things that I have always found so sad when I talk to those who college and only college, I look at kids who sit in a college classroom as some kind of a liberal arts major where they're getting C minuses and they're totally frustrated. And when you talk to that person, if they were in an auto mechanic shop or a roofer or a welder or any kind of a technician, they could be an A+ student doing something that they enjoy and can excel in. So it isn't that there's only one road. There are many roads, but math opens the door to all of them. Remember, the major that you took. So if we actually want to do research, do education that's based on research, we should be looking at math programs that are designed to give the greatest number of children the greatest amount of opportunity to get as far as they can in math, because math opens doors. Now, what you hear is, well, that's not possible. In fact, the state of California did that, and they did it in the 80s, and they said, we're going to create a math trajectory for all of our students that is based on the premise that we're going to assume that the vast majority of them can and get to calculus. And so they started in first grade, and they built a program that enabled kids to get to Algebra 1 by 8th grade so that they could get to calculus by 12th grade. And it worked. And the biggest benefit that they showed was for children of lower socioeconomic status, minority children, because math, in fact, did open those doors, and it did let those children get ahead. And then Common Core came in and closed them again. How is it that we knew in the 1990s that math was a door opener, and somehow now we don't know that math is a door opener? If we actually want education to work, we need to put aside our politically correct ideas. We need to allow our children to have the math skills they need to build their own futures and determine their own destinies. We need to look at reading research, like Project Follow Through, the largest study on literacy ever conducted. And what they found was that if children get systematic instruction in phonics so that they can decode the words, they actually learn to read, followed by reading comprehension and all of the additional skills so that once they decode the words, they can understand the words. And yet, we don't offer that in so many of our schools. So we actually know what works in education. We know that when parents direct the education of their children, education works. And so parents are the ones who are supposed to be in charge of directing how their children interact with the educational system. That's why education has to be locally controlled, so that the parents and the teachers who've actually met that child can determine how that child can best benefit from the educational opportunities that are placed in front of them. Not some bureaucrat in Washington who only looks at numbers and statistics. You know, our founding fathers were right when they said the federal government has no role in education. It's time that we listened to their wisdom and returned control of education to the folks who actually can make it work, and restored parents to their position as the primary and principal educators of their children. Tomorrow, we're going to change topics and begin to talk about our rights to interact with our Creator. See you then.